Welcome. Good afternoon. Happy Friday, and welcome to this week's edition of Shaynel's 3 Cents. I'm your host, Shaynel Caldwell of Our Blended Families, and we're going to talk about all the things that interest me, things that I think you might need to know, some things that possibly might offend you and or make you happy. But again, that's what you get when you listen to my 3 Cent show. So I want to start off this week, of course, as we always do, talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on in current events. Out of all the things that happened this week, the awesomeness that happened with your president, Mr. 45, some of the things that also happened on the sidelines with some new videos about get your money, black man, and all that good stuff. We're going to take a small little pause and go into a topic that actually branches on what we're going to continue to discuss today, victimization. I read an article, and actually quite a few articles this week, about the incident at Duke University. And for those of you that aren't aware, apparently there were 2 young baristas, and baristas are young folks that work at coffee houses, that sat at a coffee shop located on the Duke University campus. Apparently, one of the campus officers, whether he was part of one of the deans, unfortunately I don't recall right now, but he went into the coffee shop to make a purchase, and he heard some rap music in the back playing on someone's Spotify playlist. Give them a little shout out. But they're listening to some music by Young Dolph. And unfortunately, I'm an old chick. I don't know who Young Dolph is. If I happen to change to one of the radio stations, if a song has got a nice beat, I might recognize it, but not quite sure. But I can confirm that the lyrics were what we call somewhat abrasive. A couple of F-bombs here and there, a couple of N-bombs here and there. But again, it wasn't what you typically will probably hear within a coffee shop. So apparently this individual was somewhat offended by hearing the music in the background at the coffee shop. And he said something to the young lady behind the counter, who was a young African-American woman, who, by the way, had been employed at the coffee shop for approximately a year and a half. He indicated that he was not happy with the music selection. She apologized profusely. She allegedly offered to allow him to take his items free of purchase. He politely declined and paid for his items, and he left. Consequently, he made a complaint with another one of the individuals at the school that ended up getting all the way to the management of the coffee shop and ultimately up to the higher-ups at Duke University. Apparently, the next day or so, the young lady and her colleague, who was also on duty at the time, their employment was terminated. And there's this huge upheaval going on about how this was a racist incident. People should understand that people listen to different types of music. Apparently, there are also some allegations that it was a quasi-racist incident because, again, the young lady who was playing the music, at the time she was, again, African-American, and the young man who was on duty, he was a white gentleman. And so, again, there was a whole bunch of cloudy speculation going on. But anyway, the point is there was this huge upheaval on Twitter about this is wrong, we can't do anything. As black people, we need to get help. We need to get people to, again, side with us and listen to us without having these stigmas on the side. Backing up a little bit, going back to the victimization, I completely had a problem with that. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of stuff that happened this week, things that came to the forefront, another Waffle House incident with a young black man and a white police officer. The incident that occurred at the Airbnb last week, as we're coming on the heels of that, where I believe it was 4 black women who were leaving the property, and a neighbor called the police because they assumed that they were robbing the place. So the wonderful folks in blue brought the helicopters, SWAT teams, police cars, and then, of course, the young black woman who was napping on campus, who also had the police called on her. So, again, there has been a plethora of incidents involving black people having run-ins with white individuals that felt that they were being harassed and or in some type of immediate harm. This isn't one of those issues. And unfortunately, I can't side with the young lady, and I can't side with those of you that are supporting her in this. I would venture to assume, my grandmother used to say that common sense ain't as common as it used to be. When you go for a job, and I can say this with full flavor because I work in HR, my MBA is actually in HR, there are certain things that you just don't do. when I lived in California, I patronized, quite a few establishments, but it wasn't until I got to the wonderful East Coast, the state of Maryland and D.C., that I would enter an establishment. Oh, thank you. I appreciate your service. And I would hear people say, God bless you. Have a blessed day. And oh, wow, you guys can say that here? No one will say anything to you for saying that, because, of course, many people come from different religious backgrounds, and some people may take offense by that. Therefore, in most trainings, they teach you not to say anything that will be kind of disambiguously misconstrued that you're promoting your religious values of someone. But again, it's what the employer wants. It's what they perceive as, one, it's either in their training guidelines and or it's perceived as something that will make their customer base more comfortable and will, of course, allow them to increase their profits and continue to maintain their business. So if they ask you to abide by regulation, you should do that. So thinking about the common sense, you're in a coffee shop. It's not your office. It's not your place of business to do what you want to do. And I don't care where you are. If you're at work, you probably shouldn't be listening to music where others can hear, where people are blabbing off, calling people nigga and saying, fuck this, fuck that. That's just going to be a no for me. Now, you're in your car, you're at home, that's all fine and dandy. I have no problems with that. But I cannot get behind you, young lady, when you say that this is a racist incident and you're being unfairly racially profiled. And then they made the allegation. She also made the allegations that, they just fired the white guy so they could cover it up so people wouldn't think it was a racist incident. I'm going to lean towards management that it probably wasn't a racist incident, but this was just, again, another use, or rather non-use, of common sense in the workplace. While I don't agree that they should have necessarily been fired, I'm a big advocate of, talking to people and writing people up, because y'all know I like to write. But I don't think that it should have went that far. But again, that's really not my call. But in regards to my opinion on the subject, I'm going to need you to go have a seat. There's one over here. You can come on down and see us in Suitland and come talk on the show. But we're going to have to back that one up a little bit, because there are way more incidents of people having problems, particularly black people in the community, regarding valid racial incidents that deserve our attention, our time, and our support. So, again, hopefully you like it. If you don't, tweet me, talk about it, send me an email. We're happy to discuss it further. But again, we're going to take a break and come right back with my guest, part 2 of our discussion about victimization and how to get up from underneath it. We'll see you right back after this break. Welcome back to Shaynel's 3 Cents, and we're here with my guest again for part 2, the lovely Miss Pamela Hawk. Say hi, Pam.
Hello, everyone. My pleasure to be here. During
our break, Pam actually had some comments that she shared with our Facebook community about the Duke incident. And again, I said, oh, well, please, we'd certainly love to let our VoxWave audience hear your opinion on the matter. So please.
In reference to the Duke incident with the Starbucks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As I said before, I love all genres of music. My children know. I like trap music. I like classical. I like Western. I like hard rock. But in a professional realm, I was, like as I shared with you, I was patronizing an urban retail store. I was with my daughters, and when we entered the establishment, they were playing a select music that had curse words in it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable.
Was it just one? Were you just being overly?
No, and that's the thing. You know, I'm cool. I'm laid back. You know, if it's just one word, okay, I'm going to give you grace. I'm going to overlook that. I'm going to continue my shopping because that's what I came here for. But it was constant B this and H-O-E this. And I'm like, first of all, I'm with my daughter, so I have to save face and, you know, make an executive decision. Do I continue shopping in this establishment?
Feels so good when you're lying here beside me. Baby, you turn my reality into something I can't describe. Starry-eyed southern skies, a gentle breeze that flows through my mind. There are not enough words to describe who you are, baby. Sometimes I wonder myself, are you real? Are you just a dream? Are you an angel from heaven? You flow through me like water flows through a stream. How deep is your love, baby? How deep do you want me to be? I want to spend my life with you. I want to give you everything I have, everything I am, everything I love. Just hold you tight, wrap you in my loving arms, tell you who I am. Most of all, who are you?
Ain't giving up, ain't no use. I couldn't help myself if I wanted to. I'm hung up, no doubt. I'm so in love with you for me, and there's no way out. 'Cause deeper and deeper in love with you, I'm falling, yeah, yeah. Sweeter and sweeter, your tender words of love keep calling. Eager and eager, yeah. See your lips up on my face. Pleaser, pleaser, anytime or any place. I'm gonna love you, love you, love you, and just a little more, baby. I'm gonna need you, need you, need you every day. I'm gonna want you, want you, want you in every way, baby. Hold back, no way. This time it looks like love is here to stay. As long as I shall live, I'll give you all I have and all I have to give. 'Cause easier and easier, anytime or any place. Easier and easier, you see your lips up on my face. Deeper and
and welcome to this week's live edition of Shaynel's 3 Cents. I'm your host, Shaynel Caldwell, and we want to welcome you to Shaynel's 3 Cents. For those of you that are joining us on Facebook Live, again, we've had some technical difficulties, but we'll catch up to you shortly. And what we also want to do is we want to talk about, as always, a lot of the things that happened to us and the things that happened in the news as recently as this week and some of last week. Before I go into that, though, I'd like to say thank you so much to our guest host last week, Ms. Pamela Hawk. We want to say thank you for sitting in and taking care of the show in my absence. And we certainly look forward to the rest of you that will be joining us in the future as guest hosts on Shaynel's 3 Cents. So, again, quickly going back into things that are on my mind this week, we want to talk to our girls and talk about our girls, Miss Sharita and Miss Elisa. For those of you that do not know who Sharita and Elisa are, Sharita was one of the young ladies, and we're going to omit her last name, but she was one of the young ladies last week that was involved in a huge media blitz because she had accused a Texas state trooper of sexually assaulting her during an unwarranted arrest. Elisa, again, we're going to hold tight on those last names, but Elisa was a young woman that falsely accused one of the San Francisco 49ers, I believe Reuben Foster, of sexual assault as well. So again, want to talk a little bit about some of the things that our girlfriends have done and how to prevent these things from happening in the past and what our actual and appropriate response should be as a society and as sisters. So we'll go back to Sharita. A lot of the information that came forward about Sharita, it came in immense fashion. There were so many people that got involved, most notably was Shawn King, well-known civil rights activist. But we all immediately, as we should do, came to her defense. Whenever something happens or something is alleged to have happened to one of us, particularly one of our women, it is our job and it's our responsibility to make sure that we're paying attention, to make sure that, you know, we're able to put the word out, to make sure that we can discuss and try to right those wrongs. Unfortunately, this just wasn't the case. We came to find out in the most recent days that Sharita's accusations were not warranted. She said the officer had taken her around the corner, I believe near a mall or an isolated area where he sexually assaulted her, and he threatened that he would arrest her without cause if she did not give him sexual favors in return. So essentially, we want to say to you, again, there's a seat, you need to sit down and have one. It's really unfortunate that there's so many of us in our community that get hurt, that have issues that affect them every day, and to have someone come out and say something that, one, it isn't the truth, you know it's not the truth, and it's actually going to cause more harm than good, because there are a lot of people now that are trending on social media, particularly on Twitter, about Shawn King and how, you know, he shouldn't have been so quick to jump. I disagree. It is our responsibility as a people to come to the rescue of our folks. It's also our responsibility as decent and moral human beings. And I emphasize decent and moral human beings because a lot of us just aren't that, but we can be. So again, Sharita, we need you to have a seat for a moment, sit down, lay low, and hopefully expect some charges coming your way because you were completely out of line. The situation was out of line and unwarranted for. So shuffling over to our other homegirl, Elisa, and it's either Elisa or Alyssa, but again, this was a San Francisco story about the 49er who was accused of not only beating up the girlfriend, but dragging her down the stairs, punching her in the face repeatedly. And again, it wasn't warranted. Thank goodness she was able to recant her story sooner than later, because the young man actually had court on this past Tuesday, I believe, where the charges were actually dropped. We also were able to find out that this wasn't the first time that she had said a man assaulted her physically, and it wasn't the truth. Some of the media reports stated that this had happened as recently as a year and a half ago with another young man who she also filed a restraining order against. But again, just need to have a seat, girlie. You need to have a seat. Again, it makes us look bad. And it definitely affects the credibility of other actual victims that have been domestically abused, that have been physically assaulted, that require our support and that literally demand our support. So we want to say, one, as I say all the time, because it bears repeating, you need to get some counseling. It is available, whether or not these are issues that surround your self-esteem, whether or not these are issues that surround your sense of security, your sense of self, whatever it is. We want you to get help. We want you to be supportive. If
there are family members that are watching and that are paying attention, make sure you put your arms around them, make sure you comfort them, but also make sure you put that finger up and let them know that we recognize that this was wrong. And we want to move forward from this. But again, we have to accept responsibility when we make a mistake. So again, keep in touch with what's going on in social media. Make sure that you're able to write into whatever networks you're actually watching, send some emails, send some tweets, put some information down on Facebook. But we have to make sure that we're being diligent about the things that happen in our society, but also making sure that we support those people that need and require our support. So again, pay attention to what's going on. Make sure we're checking our girls, make sure we're checking our guys, making sure that these things don't happen. If you know someone that has been accused, it is your responsibility as a friend to say, hey, what's up with that? It is your responsibility as a family member. Hey, do we need to talk about this? Is there something that I can do? Is there something maybe you missed? But we have to take care of our own, and we have to start doing a better job. But more importantly, we have to start holding each other accountable for the things that we do in our lives. Why? Because it affects our community. It affects everyone's sense of security and sense of awareness and self-esteem. And with that, we're going to go into a quick break before we come out with our first guest on this week's, again, our edition of Shaynel's 3 Cents. We'll see you back shortly.
get ready. There's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage. You just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket. You just thank the Lord. You just thank the Lord. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready. People get ready. There's a train to Jordan. It's picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key. Open the doors and board them. There's hope for all among the lost. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready. There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind just to save his own. Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner, but there's no hiding place against the kingdom's throne. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready. So people get ready. There's a train coming. You don't need no baggage. You just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no tickets. You don't need no tickets. You just thank the Lord. You gotta get ready. Gotta get ready. There's a train coming. You don't need no bag. You just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels running. You don't need no ticket. You don't need no ticket. You don't need no ticket. You just thank the Lord. You got to get ready. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready. There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind just to save his own. Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner, but there's no hiding place against the kingdom's throne. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready. Seems like it's raining all over the world. When it's hard to rest, rainy night in Georgia, rainy night in Georgia, like it's raining all over the world. Seems like it's raining all over the world. Rainy night in Georgia. Rainy night in Georgia. Seems like it's raining all over the world. Seems like it's raining all over the world. Seems like it's raining all over the world. Rainy, 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 rainy. Rainy, 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 rainy.
Okay, thanks for holding on with us during the break on Shaynel's 3 Cents. We are back with our guest this week, Mr. Valario Johnson, youth and fatherhood advocate and proud member of the D.C. Commission on Fatherhood, Men and Boys. Yay.
Yay.
Do you want to tell the audience before we get started a little bit about your background and how you got started working with the commission and your activities working with young people?
Those two different questions.
Can you answer one or more of those questions? Again, my favorite verbal sparring partner.
How am I supposed to act in this space?
Just be yourself, Valario.
Like you?
Yes.
All right.
Be better than me.
All right, so I got a baby mother. That's how I got into the whole fatherhood piece. But the youth
Once you
development
became a
piece,
father, you started getting into the fatherhood piece.
Once I got a baby mother, yeah, absolutely.
Turn his mic down some. No, I'm kidding.
No, so I started off as a classroom teacher, social studies. And I mean, I like kids. I like teaching. I like educating. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, so we do a lot of mentoring, I'm a member of the 100. We do a lot of mentoring. So I've been mentoring like 20 years. Just helping kids, man. Just black boys. I don't know. It's God's work, you know.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But the other piece, I got baby mama.
Okay, aside from you having a baby mama, which allowed you to become a father, which also allowed you in turn to get involved in the fatherhood piece.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what he meant to say, y'all, but you know, he does what he wants. Okay, so as I was doing the opening, and you guys don't excuse him because this is who he is, but
Who am I?
you were you. You were you. But yeah, again, strong advocate, always something positive and important to say. And he a little sassy like me, which is why he's here. So, anywho, so going back to our going back to our opening, I was telling the audience a little bit about my homegirls, Sharita and Elisa. And those were the young ladies that lied about their sexual assault and or domestic violence. You recall Sharita was the young lady that accused the Texas State Trooper of sexually assaulting her when in fact the body cam footage showed that that simply was not the case, and she simply lied and of course got all of society involved into this huge civil rights event where we didn't need to be for her. And then Elisa was the young woman that accused the 49er of domestic violence and said that he punched her in the face 8 times, dragged her down the stairs and all that good stuff. And she later told us that that also was not true, which incidentally, that was the second time that she had done that. So going into our topic, nice little segue into today's topic about dating in the DMV, how is it that you men can't recognize crazy?
What?
You heard me.
That ain't got nothing to do with MySpace. Hold up.
I know dating in the DMV is already difficult because as parents, you know, we have to be cautious about people that we meet. But and these are beautiful, both of them are beautiful young women. Both of them have great jobs, great position in society. But again, what some of us will call a little cray-cray. So as a man, how was it that you tried to make sure you avoid that?
I go to church. And I read my Bible. But evidently I didn't do too good 4 years ago because I got a 3-year-old. But no, I don't know. Honestly, I'm no psychologist. You know, I'm a sociologist. And, you know, I don't know how you spot crazy. I'm not Dr. Phil. People are people, right? People are people, men and women. People are people. And you never know. You don't know what kind of trauma people have from their childhood. You don't know what triggers, what situations make someone go from left to right. You know, I don't know. I have no idea.
So as a single dad, do you encourage other single dads to date with caution?
I can't get a date. I got a 3-year-old. Women be like, what? Where the mom at?
So
I don't get no love. I'm a great dad. I don't get no love. No. We're like, where the mama at?
okay, so we're not going to talk about you. We're going to talk about those other men that are
That's
part
why
of the
you laughing,
100. That are part of the
Tell
100.
truth. We got 3-year-old. What? Where the mama at? See, I told you they don't want. When you get about 7 or 8, we bring me back and talk about this. But right now,
so you don't have any other bros that's part of the 16. You don't have any other gentlemen that's part of the 100 that are able to date that have children under the age of 5. No stories.
You don't get no love for having small children. I mean, you get love. I get love for being a great dad. You know, I get love for the work I do in the community. But that's as far as it goes. They be like, where the mama at? They look for the ring, the tan.
Tan line.
They look for the tan line.
Please do this, women. Look for
and then I'm too involved in my son's life, right? So I'm not like a weekend dad. Like I'm really, really, everybody knows like I'm like a mom, dad, right? So they be like, yo, something ain't right about that situation.
No, I mean, you've done that to me on occasion where I call and you say, oh, I got my son this weekend. I'll be like, all right, then I got to go. But, you know, that's different because we're friends. But, no, so and I don't want to say that all men have this problem, but I do believe that it's something that, you know, our good, strong dads will have. Because you should be cautious as a woman that if you run into a young man that has a child, you want to make sure that, one, he is making time for his child. And that 2, whatever issues you have as a woman, whatever children's issues, work issues, those things don't kind of conflict. So,
I mean, the flip side of that, right, is you run into situations where you typically have women who they have their children. So, as a man, I could talk about how difficult that is. But
dating women with children?
Yeah.
That's not hard at all.
Yeah, it is. But I don't want to meet your child.
Do you want to
2
meet?
weeks after I met you.
Do you want to meet her child before she meets your child?
What? Say that again.
Who gets to meet whose child first?
I mean, at the same time
Same
at
time?
Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
And
And
then
how
the
soon
kids-
after?
Huh?
How soon after meeting?
Oh,
We doing a Steve Harvey thing? You want to wait 90 days?
I don't believe in none of that. Think like a man crap. That's crap. But
I still love you, Steve.
you can go to Chuck E. Cheese, or you can do like play days. I mean, kids. I mean, I'm all about cultivating my son's relationships and his friendships, and creating spaces and environments where he can have healthy, warm attachments, with people. But no, my son doesn't know anything about that. He doesn't know. There's no women around. My ex-fiance and my son's mother. Those are only 2 women. He has no clue.
He knows me.
He know you because you was helping him up at the skating rink.
He knows me because I'm a friend. So in this,
He don't
and this
know
is,
you like that.
Who does he think I am?
The
nanny?
the nice.
The lady that work at the skating
Well,
rink?
no, because he know the cleaning lady, but he knows. He knew you was helping him skate, and now he's a skater. My son got his own set of skates. I showed you the pictures the other day, right?
Yes, we've seen adorable pictures.
We take him to Crystal Skate, $2 Tuesdays, right? And he'd just be out there. He got a little crew and his little support system, but
Okay, you look.
women don't meet my kid unless it's in a public space and it's a.
All right, when
space.
when would you want them to meet your child?
My son is 3.5 years old, and he has not met a woman I've been in a relation, except
do
for
you
his
have
mom and my ex-fiance.
Okay, so except for his mom and his ex-fiance, do you have
My
other
ex-fiance.
female, your ex-fiancés?
My son ain't. He's cool. He's still in this proper place.
Do you have other female friends? Just friends, platonic friends. Do you have any other female friends?
You're becoming a friend, yeah. You.
Okay, any other women besides me that you might know and, speak to at work, happen to see after
No
work?
work, no. Those are colleagues. I don't do nothing
Okay,
at work.
colleagues.
But yeah, I do. I have childhood friends. I have
Sorority sisters, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, and your son can't meet any of them?
Not at my home. No, we ain't going to dinner together. No, it's a.
As a friend?
No. It's confusing for him.
Is it confusing for you?
What?
Because, and you know that I love you, VJ. You know that I love you. I believe, one, that Mr. Sociology major, that in order to ingratiate our children into positive relationships and to recognize that men and women or boys and girls, that we can be friends without being intimate.
Yeah, that ain't for no 3-year-old to figure out. That ain't,
Okay, so
that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Why? Where they can process that this is a boy, this is a girl? Because, I mean, even 3-year-olds know this is a boy or girl. Or are you saying that...
Look at it from a child's point of view. So if you look at all the cartoons and if you read all the children's books, if you look at what we feed our young people, our little people, it's girl, boy, mom, dad. It's not female friend, male friend. We don't teach that to 3-year-olds, right? It's mom, dad, right? Brother, sister, boy, girl. We don't get into the complexity. Really, come on.
Do you guys watch Blue's Clues?
The Blue Dog? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right,
you know that Blue has a friend.
What kind of friend is that?
He has female friends and
some of these
male
cartoons
friends.
got little special friends too. You know that. You got to be careful about the subtle stuff.
What other cartoons does your son watch? Because we gonna argue this point. We gonna argue because We
So-
teach kids to be friends. We teach them to be friends, whether or not your friend is a
likes-
boy or your friend is a girl.
He likes Nature Cat. He likes Super Y, Peppa Pig, and I just found out Peppa Pig was a girl. I always thought Peppa Pig was a boy. It took me a couple of episodes to get into that. Cat in the Hat. You know,
Okay, we're going to scratch Cat in the Hat for a second.
The Lord
Peppa Pig has
Tiger, what?
boys and girls, female and male friends.
But they all pink and they all look like. It's not real distinct. One got a bow. And,
The elephant.
you know, so. But I mean, why? So you're saying here that I should be socializing my 3-year-old boy to understand that daddy can have plutonic, which is a big word that most teenagers don't know,
True.
should have a friend or no, not a friend, but a friend.
Well, I think that in society, and I've been doing a lot of research on this. Yeah, a lot of research on this. That we intentionally teach children that men and women are supposed to be together. We don't teach
That's what
them.
I just said.
But I'm telling you, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. And there are a lot of studies that out there that show that we need to teach each other how to be friends, how to be
Absolutely.
just
I
friends,
agree with
because you may have a wife who is friends with your boys. They just friends. They just happen to be of a different sex. So when we teach people to just be friends, that also may lessen some of the assaults that we see. That may lessen some of the abuse when we start to see people for just who they are, as opposed to your next intimate partner.
I agree. We should teach cultivation of healthy, productive relationships between the sexes. I totally agree with that.
Okay, so we're not gonna talk about you on this.
Am I supposed to be
we'll talk about women.
contrarian here?
No,
I can
you're
be
you're
combative.
supposed to be yourself,
Am I
which
supposed
is
to be
naturally
combative
combative.
I can't. You got to give me a point that I disagree with.
You did this. You said it doesn't work for you, for your 3-year-old.
No, I said I'm not exposing him to that because I don't think that is his time right now. It's just like I don't take his training wheels off. I think he can ride a bike without training wheels, but I ain't ready to do it.
Okay, well let's talk about me and a hypothetical from many moons ago. I have 2 children. My children, let's say they were 8 and 3. And as a single mom, my plumbing goes out. So I call my friend Michael.
Your plumbing.
My plumbing goes out in my house. The plumbing goes out.
The plumber will come later.
Okay, let's say
It's not a good scenario.
I need some help at home.
The plumbers come out.
I need some help at home. And getting some help at home, I know a friend that actually does that. So I can call my friend to come out, and my friends meet Mr. Michael that's coming to fix the stuff. But Mr. Michael isn't my boyfriend. But they say, oh, we see Mr. Michael who came and fixed the stuff. Thank you, Mr. Michael.
Because he's a service provider. He's the plumber. It's just like the bus driver. It's just like the grocery store clerk. He's not really your friend. He's providing you a service.
I can't have friends that have skills outside of that.
Do you go out with him?
No, I said he's a friend. And mind you,
So
this
that's
is
not a
hypothetical.
friend. That's not a friend. That's a service provider.
It is a friend that
It's
does
like the
these
police.
things.
It's like
I have
car
police officer
dealership.
friends. Okay, so
You know people.
I know
Don't call
people.
them friends.
I know, but
They're not
they
friends.
happen to be my friends. They happen to be my friends. So this goes back to, again, a woman that has friends that, and she needs help. So can we call our male friends for help without our children thinking that it's a guy that we sleeping with, and our children that are 7, 8, 9, and 10?
Don't let them watch social media. Think about where do kids get this stuff from? Right, my son, you know, where do children get this stuff from? So I ride around listening to Kids Place Radio all the time. He don't even listen to the regular radio. It's either that or gospel. So where do kids get these ideas from?
From the street,
They get it from their parents.
street,
They get it from their
social media,
parents,
school,
their brothers and
parents.
sisters, they wild, crazy aunts and uncles. They come from the house first.
And it should, or when they bring it back home and we discuss it, we should redirect it. But I bring this up because I had this conversation last month with some folks on my online chat room with the NCFR. how do we start teaching kids to know that, oh, my mom always have these guy friends, to where you think that your mom's not sleeping with these guys, but they're actually just friends?
How many friends your mom got coming around? Come on now, let's be clear.
I'm not just saying they're coming to the house, but these are people that are friends. They say, oh, this uncle such and such. Usually when they uncle, when a kid, oh, this my uncle, yeah, she probably sleeping with him. Even though we've been saying this for a long time, but why would you think that you're sleeping with such and such that's an uncle?
You're losing me in this topic.
Okay, let me bring it back. Why is it that women cannot have male friends without people thinking, women, mothers cannot have male friends without people thinking that she's sleeping with them?
I don't know about that. I don't know. But why can't I be around women without people thinking I'm sleeping with them?
You can, and you should.
That ain't, damn well that ain't true.
Why? Because
didn't we go to some party the other day? Wouldn't we?
I just met you a couple of weeks ago.
We would, yeah, you was there. I saw you there. You were there.
Were we there with some other colleagues/friends?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a whole network there. But when I came by myself, and everybody was like, who he with? And then you was being friendly. Right? You was being friendly, right? And we knew each other. And you was being social. And people was looking at me like, oh, he with her. I wasn't with you. I came by myself.
But you got there late, and I was friendly and being social with a whole bunch of other people, some other dudes too.
So maybe they thought you was with a lot of people.
People that know me know that I talk to everybody. I don't know too many strangers.
All I'm saying is that.
But that's a valid point. That's
stuff.
a society that, so if somebody's single, you must be with someone.
People make up stuff.
Okay, but
why do people make up stuff? I don't know. But people make up stuff because people are messy.
I am going to agree with that, but I still want to focus it on parents. And how is it that parents don't recognize that our kids need to see healthy male-female relationships?
I agree they do.
I'm not.
I just don't think I don't know how. It's not my thought. Maybe I'll take it. I'll take it from here and I'll think about it. But I don't think my son at 3.5 years old need to see me with a bunch of different women, and I don't think I need to explain to him that those are my friends. I think he needs to be focused on being a child. I think he needs to be focused on our relationship and enjoying loving life. I just think that's too complex for a 3.5-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old. Now, we know they get it because we live in the age of social media, and we know our world has turned upside down in the last 10 years since people are allowed to go on Facebook in 2008. Social media, Snapchat, Instagram.
MySpace.
Last 10
started
years.
MySpace.
But MySpace was Black Planet. Some of y'all old in here, so Black Planet, MySpace, right? I mean, it was a milder form, right? You just meet people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Slow internet, you had to dial up, and you got to wait for somebody to respond 2-3 days. I mean, it wasn't the same. We didn't get the internet to what, 95, 96?
96.
Yeah, before it came commercial, right? But now, how many social media channels you have on your phone? All of them. Right. So she gets stuff beamed right to her unintentionally. Is that a word? Unintentionally? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unintentionally. You're not even looking for that stuff. And you scrolling. You're like, whoa. What is it? Click. You off into a whole new world.
So what does that have to do with men and women being friends?
It's hard to explain it. That's all I'm saying. It's hard to explain what that is when we're being bombarded with stuff that doesn't show men and women being friends. If a man and a woman is friends, one of them is probably not into the other one, literally.
And that's okay. That's okay.
But, not into you, but not into it,
But that's still okay because we still have to recognize that even if and that happens.
Me, right? I'm sorry.
No, people can be attracted to each other because you can't help it. You can't help that people are attracted to you. You can't control that. However, you can control the relationships that you create. So you either go into an intimate relationship with someone or you go into a platonic relationship
So
with someone.
let me ask you this question. How many friends you supposed to have? You ain't got but real in life 3-4 friends. People that you can call in the middle of the night that will come pick you up because you stranded or drunk or whatever your issues are. You're in jail. How many people you got? Like, how many people you gonna label friend? if that's the criteria. So why you
I can say that I probably have, like you said, 3 or 4 people that will call me to come pick me up if I was late.
Everybody
but I'm
else,
gonna call Uber first because I'm a respectful friend.
Everybody else, VJ, that's somebody I know.
Okay, so
that's somebody
and
I work with.
People that you know
that's
that
the
you
lady
happen
that
to
cleans
see.
the house, right? You know, that's the man that fixes the car. That's the police officer. They all have specific roles. They doing stuff.
Okay, but if you happen to see the lady that cleans the house at the mall, do you speak to her because you know her, or you just walk past saying, "Oh yeah, that's the lady," and keep it moving?
It ain't happened yet, so maybe we'll deal with it when it.
So I can't even get a hypothetical. You don't speak to people that you know when you're out socializing?
I speak to everybody.
The service providers, you speak to them?
We don't go in the same places though.
I didn't say that we went in the same
Like
place.
she get her cleaning supplies from Walmart. I go to Target. I'm joking.
I'm just like, you don't know that.
I'm joking with y'all, man.
Look, no, he's being himself. He's being himself. I mean, and I completely get, young kids. You want them to be a kid because that's certainly something that I think that more of us as parents need to do. Make sure that we allow our kids to just be a kid. You know, sometimes they may ask questions because they heard something at school or they seen something on TV and they come and ask. You say, "Oh, well, don't worry about that," and you give them a quick answer so they can go back outside and play.
Yeah, I'll deal with it though. Like VJ came home, he said something about police. Like, what? Where you get that from? Like, police chase bad guys. Like, where you get that from? Cops and robbers? I don't know. Where you get that from? So I ended up taking them to the police station. Here are the police car, sirens. These people are here to protect us. You know, you don't need to. And I think somebody said he probably had. They don't have. Their private logic is a lot different, right, than ours. So, and we don't really know the minds of little teeny children because they don't have the world experiences that we have. They don't have the successes, the failures, the heartbreaks, that range of human emotions that help cloud our judgment and how we see the world. They just happy. They just excited. They just exploring. And then we put stuff in them. And then you wonder why they grow up. And you'd be like, oh, why you can't recognize crazy? Well, because it was there about 5, 6, lying dormant, and then some situation just made it.
Don't bring back my why you can't recognize crazy. Don't bring that back. And because again,
you crazy, I recognize you're crazy.
Okay, now that VJ has successfully veered us off track from our topic, we're going to have to come back and finish this discussion. Because ultimately, we do want to talk about healthy dating relationships. We also want to...
I'll talk about that.
Yeah, okay, we'll finally get a show where you can finally come back about that. And we're going to follow up and, again, continue to talk about how we want to have healthy dating. We also want to talk about healthy interpersonal relationships between men and women and recognizing actual friendships.
Was I talking to you last night about this? I had a really good conversation last night.
So again, we want to thank you for tuning in for this week's edition of Shaynel's 3 Cents. And we'll see you back next week. Remember, you might not like it, but at least you heard it. We'll see you back shortly.
This is good.